Hello, everybody. How's it going? Happy Saturday. Oop. There we go. What a great set of music to start with. Steel Samurai, always a banger. Hi. How's it going? Hope everyone's having a good week. Hope you guys are having a great weekend. I don't know who else is watching LunarCon if you're into Final Fantasy XIV, but they just had a really amazing concert by Husky by the Geek that I was watching for stream. And then I figured maybe we stream a little earlier today, just in case it runs long again. Last week was surprisingly long for the investigation, but I forgot that this game do be like that. It's been a while, so I forgot that like the segments in this game are a bit longer, and that's fine. But yeah, we're getting into the trial today. We're going back to the Old Bailey, to the old courthouse, and we're going to defend science. Our sciencey friend, who is also coincidentally a childhood friend of one Barrick Van Zeeks. So yeah, maybe we'll become besties, right? Is now the time when we become besties with Barrick Van Zeeks? Hold on, let me see if I can... No, wrong way. That way? That way. There we go. That moves me in the right direction. Okay, cool. So, yeah, maybe we'll get a chance to become friends. Let's do the recap. We've got this, which I don't quite know what this is for. There was an explosion at the Great Exhibition. Oops, that's not what I wanted to do. People. So, that dude is dead. And he... Yeah, he's also a crime lord. So, you know, there's that. Here's our scientist, Mr. Albert Harebrain, friend of Barrick Van Zeeks. We have a mysterious apprentice who I swear to God is probably Cosmo. Because, you know, that... I mean, we did have a body, but, like, there's ways to, like, make people look like they're dead. It's all a setup. There we go. My trapezius was really bugging me for a second there. And then we got Ginny, who is now a, basically like an intern for the detectives, for the police, for Scotland Yard. She's working under, Inspector Gregson. And then we had Esmeralda Tuspels, who is basically Madame Tussaud, of a wax museum. Yeah. There's some stuff going on. We definitely don't have all the pieces. We just gotta get through the trial somehow so we can go do some more investigating and snooping. That's the plan. We're gonna fly by the seat of our pants, as always. Anyway. So yeah. That's where we're at. Picking right up where we left off from last week. Very exciting stuff. Alright. 23rd of October. Oh hey, it is almost October. This is like a month into the future. We might finish this game. Or sorry, this case around the time when the case is happening. That's pretty funny. Yeah, that's neat. Cool. 23rd of October, 8:52 a.m. The Old Bailey, defendant's antechamber. Can't believe it's been 6 months since I was last allowed to work in court. And now here I am, back at the Old Bailey. Shit. I should've... It's funny because, like, yesterday, no, or 2 days ago, I was looking over the VoD to try to remember the voices for today, and then, now that it's today, I don't remember. Hey, Darjeeling, how's it going? Look at that happy Momo. Hoping people use Momo. He's such a good boy. Anyway. Ha! Mr. Naruhodo! Morning, Professor Harebrain. I don't understand! It doesn't make any sense! Wow, actually remove Naruhodo so you can't Naruhodo when Mr. Look, it's not always about what you want. It's about what the streamer wants, okay? The atmospheric pressure in here is off the charts! I've never felt anything like it! It's crushing me! I feel it every time I'm here. That, gravity? Well, this is Britain's highest court. What are you telling me it started with some kind of device that can actually control air pressure? I think it's probably all in the mind. Ah, yes. Well, let me down, will you, Mr. Naruhodo? I'm counting on you in today's trial to save my life. To save the secret of my super high voltage instantaneous kinesis machine from being made public. Yes, I understand. I know what I have to do. So it's pretty clear, assumed, rather, understood, respected, that he did accidentally kill a dude. Because that guy is dead, and he did die because of the explosion in the experiment. But the thing we're trying to do is not prove that he didn't do it, because, like, obviously his experiment went awry and caused the death of the man. But we're trying to prove it was an accident and not intentional manslaughter. Because if it was intentional manslaughter, then he loses all the rights to his experiment, the technology and the research and the science behind it. So he loses his rights to all of that. But if we maintain that it is an accident, then nobody else can access his secrets and try to copy them. So very important. Also a very nice and unique spin and take on it. I have to establish that the explosion 2 days ago was nothing more than an unfortunate accident. Well, I'm sure there's nothing to worry about, really. Justice will prevail. Who is this? My commiserations, Mr. Naruhodo. You appear to have been lumbered with the most tiresome case here. Ah! Hurley, of course. Mr. Sholmes, I didn't expect to see you here. Okay, let's reread his line. We'll reread it. I can hit the right button. There we go. My commiserations, Mr. Naruhodo. You appear to have been lumbered with the most tiresome case here. Which you would have been aware of if you came with us, but you were kind of dicking around at the wax museum, trying to scrounge up money for rent. Or rather, to buy something back from the pawnbroker. She's so cute.
That was very mean, Bruno, leaving me alone at home with Hurley. Took me at least an hour to wake him.
Is it? Are you? Sherlock Sholmes? Indeed, sir, I am he, Sherlock Sholmes. Oh, I've heard all about your exploits even whilst living in Germany.
Ah, yes, France magazine's on sale in Germany, too.
This month's installment was sublime! Your deduction in The Adventure of the Silver Blaze was wonderful! Ah, yes, a memorable case indeed. It concerned a snake, as I seem to recall. Nope, wrong one. Wrong. That's the bands. That's the speckled band.
No, that was the speckled band.
Well, thank you for coming. I do appreciate your support. Sorry to disappoint you, my dear fellow, but I'm afraid I can't stay. Oh. I have urgent business at Madame Dispel's. You mean your waxwork job? No, the waxwork abduction, of course. Madame has engaged my services. Ah, so you're trying to get to the bottom of that ransom note, are you? The week's wages depend on it, as does the safe return of the waxwork, naturally. As such, I intend to give it my undivided attention. Oh, well, never mind then, I understand. Gotta get that money. Gotta get that bread. Of course, with my skills of observation and reasoning, resolving the matter will be as easy as proverbial pie. I shall return forthwith. But until I solve the case, I shall have no money to afford a pie of any description.
Ooh, then you must absolutely give it your full attention, Hurley.
Quite, Iris, quite. But life is riddled with irony, you know? Whenever I give something my full attention, I have a quite insatiable desire for a pie. One of the universe's intractable mysteries, you might say.
Oh, yes, quite. Definitely. Absolutely. I totally understand.
I'm a little starstruck. Oh, let me move my chair a little bit. Hold up. I wish you the very best of luck, Professor Hairbrain.
Ooh, why, thank you.
I depart, Mr. Naruhodo. A word in your ear, if you please. What's this about? Hold up, I'm gonna move me over a little bit. Yoop. There we go. As your remarkably little grounding in science, I feel I ought to inform you. As compelling as this super high voltage instantaneous kinesis hypothesis may be, a practical implementation such as was attempted by the professor at the Great Exhibition is quite impossible. But the professor said the demonstration was a success. Yes, it would appear that he fervently believes it was.
I've read Professor Bunnybrain's paper about it too, Bruno, and I have to say, sure it can't be done. It can barely be done theoretically, let alone practically.
So he's completely barking up the wrong tree? And how can an experiment that had no possibility of succeeding in fact succeed? That's contradictory. And it's that contradiction that will be at the heart of the trial, I've no doubt. What's that supposed to mean? Now I must hurry along. I wish you the best of luck, my dear fellow.
See you later, Hurley. Well, looks like you're on your own today, Bruno. But chin up, you can do it.
Oh, what about you, Iris? Thought you were gonna be with me.
No, I'm afraid I can't help. I have something else I need to do.
Oh, I see.
It's gonna be a big surprise for you when you find out what it is.
That sounds ominous. Counsel for the defense and the defendant. Court is about to be in session. Make your way to the courtroom at once. We're on our way. An experiment that the laws of science can't possibly succeed. Or say can't possibly succeed, sorry. And a scientist who's convinced that it did. That's the riddle you have to unlock here, Yunosuke. That's the key to this case. October, 9:10 a.m., the Old Bailey courtroom. The name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby declare this court to be in session. We are sitting today for the public trial of Professor Albert Hairbrain. I now call upon the counsels for the prosecution and the defense to declare their willingness to proceed. The prosecution is ready. The defense is ready, my lord. I'm 6 months out of practice, and what's more... No, Sasato-san. I'm without Sasato-san today. Is it just my imagination, or does the air in here feel even more oppressive than usual? Ah, deer in headlights. Good old Yunosuke. So, I must say I recollect the victim of this case all too well, Mr. VoD Osmond. Mr. Osmond was well known as a financier, though that was merely a front for his diversive criminal activities. It was only a month ago that the man appeared in court prosecuted by you, Lord Van Zeeks. But the jury unanimously found him not guilty. Because every member of the jury had been bribed, by the sound of it. These powerful London criminals are prepared to go to extreme lengths to keep their freedom. But 2 days ago, on October 21st, Mr. Osmond met his end. The work of the Reaper, was it? That is how your lordship would describe divine retribution. But the fact remains that Mr. Osmond's death is a direct result of the actions of the accused, Professor Harebrain. Very well, then. Now, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you have been selected at random to represent the will of the people. Are the 6 of you ready to fulfill your societal duty? All right. How many people do we think are going to be repeat people we've seen before? I'm going to say half of them. Let's say at least half of them. So 3 or more. 3 or more. I'm most gratified to have been selected to carry out this important civic duty, my lord.
To have a man's fate in the palm of one's hand. Oh gosh, oh golly. It sends shivers down my spine.
She's pretty, actually. I really like her design. Oh, I'm wrong. I haven't seen... yeah, I was wrong. That's already 4 people I can't recognize. Just looking ahead a little. Science, experiments, magic, conjuring tricks, courtroom trials. All are nothing more than performances. Any spur scholars that defiles the reputation of science deserves to hang.
We have to listen to what's said on both sides of the fence and settle on one. That's it, isn't it?
Nope, this is all new people. Except this dude who was in the wax museum yesterday. Well then, all right. It wasn't like this in my day. It wasn't like this at all. That's the police killer Ottermole lookalike again. And he's as exhausted as ever, it seems. Now, as I'm sure you're all aware, the incident that we are here to judge today tragically took place at the Great Exhibition shortly after its opening. Sorry. I yawn sometimes. Though the death toll could have been far worse, with the exception to the victim, no one was killed. Nevertheless, the dream of the science being exhibited rapidly turned into a nightmare for the spectators. A tragic turn of events, and as such, the eyes of all of London, no, the whole world will be on this trial. It is our duty to reach a swift and just conclusion, I feel. So, your opening statement, please, Lord Van Zeeks. The heart of this incident is technology never before demonstrated anywhere in the world. One of science's latest developments, I take it. The government is keen to capitalize on the Great Exhibition to improve Britain's technological advantage. The technology being demonstrated by the accused was described as super high voltage instantaneous kinesis. Good lord! It's designed to disassemble human subjects using extremely high voltage electricity and beam them instantly to another location where they are subsequently reassembled. Is such a thing even within the realms of possibility? Well, I don't believe it, that's for sure.
Disassembling people with electricity. My goodness, how shocking.
The whole idea's absurd. The hypothesis would never stand up to scrutiny. So, I believe you're a fellow of the Royal Society, are you not? An expert in your field? I am, and my word on the matter can be considered final. Instantaneous kinesis is poppycock. So this expert and Mr. Sholmes are in agreement. It's impossible. What is the prosecution's view on the matter? The prosecution would assert that the accused instantaneous kinesis demonstration was a success. Oh, I'm gonna have to prove that was okay. Now we gotta prove that it was a failure, that it wasn't possible. Ugh. That's a twist I wasn't expecting. What? What rot? Order! Order! The professor's hypothesis is currently under investigation by the British government. If it is deemed to have merit, a substantial research grant would be made available. The accused made use of the invention built on his new hypothesis to take Mr. Asmon's life, in order to be the sole benefactor of the grant. But... This disastrous demonstration was no accident. It was carefully designed from the outset to end the life of the victim. Bold words for someone who's supposed to be your friend. Thank you, Lord Van Zeeks. The prosecution's stance is clear. But you will now bring forth witnesses to substantiate your claims. Oh yes, please tell me these witnesses who are going to be able to explain that this was indeed what really happened. Gladly, my lord. Bailiff, show the first witness to the stand. The defendant himself. Witnesses, state your names and occupations for the court. Yes, sir. Tobias Gregson, Detective Inspector at Scotland Yard's Homicide Division. I was on duty at the demonstration on the day in question and in charge of the following investigation.
Albert Harebrain, scientist!
You are born in England, but have been carrying out research in Germany in recent years, correct?
Yes, that's right! After graduating from university here in Britain, I went to work in Germany and made an amazing discovery. Which is what brought me back. I had to demonstrate my incredible hypothesis at the Great Exhibition!
What you demonstrated was incredibly alright, an incredible explosion.
But the science is a success! The instantaneous kinesis worked! Everyone saw it, they must have done! Yes, it was a terrible accident, but the demonstration of my hypothesis was a success!
Well, that much is undeniable, as shown in the photograph taken by the forensics investigation team. It was taken inside the Crystal Tower, I take it. Centerpiece of the exhibition, no less. Alright, so really really out there outlandish theory. What if, and this is all very hypothetical, and again, a very outlandish theory, what if this was intended? It was intended that there would be such an accident to fake his death because he was in hot water with the courts, which he got out of, but then, you know, there's the whole thing with the Reaper. So in order to, you know, protect himself from being come after, he faked his death. And this is a body double. This is just somebody who looks like him, but is not actually the dude. What if? Probably not. Again, very out there outlandish theory. That's probably not at all what's happening. I'm just saying, what if it was?
That's right, my lord. Seems the victim rammed straight into it. I see. Very well, submit the photograph as evidence. Photograph of the victim. Photographic print of the victim taken after he had ostensibly been beamed to the Crystal Tower. It shows an apparent stab wound in the chest. As the court heard, the victim of the incident was Audie Osman. So what possibly stabbed him? Something in the explosion? But then, like, where did whatever it was go? Like, did we find out what it was? Like, what pierced his chest? Oh gosh darn it, camera. Why did you freeze on that frame where I'm yawning? There we go. Fixed. There have been a number of allegations made against the man, but putting them aside for the time being. It was the man who financed the research for the experiment and the demonstration itself. I see. So to summarize the situation, the defendant is accused of taking the life of the man who funded his work. Would that be correct? Exactly. But couldn't it be that the explosion was caused by some malfunction in the apparatus used for the demonstration? That's right! That must be it! My splendid machine! My poor splendid machine! Saw it yesterday, didn't you? Can't even examine the wreckage thanks to the Special Dispensation for Scientific Equipment Act. What? The wreckage? The wreckage? Well, that being the case, how can the facts be established? How can it possibly be determined whether this was an accident or a deliberate and malicious act? Extremely simply, my lord. I beg your pardon? Isn't that right, witness? What? Sorry? Me? No, your neighbor. Yes, sir. It was murder, plain and simple. Anyone could state that with complete certainty. What? How could he possibly think that? Thank you, Inspector. I think we had better proceed to formal testimony. You will explain to the court on what grounds you claim this experiment to have been a front for murder. But, like, it doesn't make a sense that he would do that because he's trying to get the grant and then, like, getting your grantor killed in your experiment during the course of your experiment doesn't really lend itself to, like, hey, give me a grant. This thing's totally safe. We should definitely invest in this. I'm just saying, that doesn't make sense. Front for murder. Corpse that went crashing through the Crystal Tower had a broken neck. I made a minor miscalculation in the angle of the beam projection, that's all! It was my mistake! But the post-mortem examination revealed another injury. A fatal wound. That was a lesion in his chest where he'd been clearly stabbed by something sharp right in the heart. Though the victim was killed before he went anywhere. This fella's the only one who could have done it. Oh, is that what you're trying to claim? That it definitely worked and then he was definitely stabbed? What could he have possibly stabbed him with? This looks like a crossbow to me, honestly. This definitely looks like a crossbow. We found it in the tree. Somebody shot him with a fucking crossbow. I swear. All right, let's do this. Extraordinary business. In addition to suffering a broken neck, the victim was stabbed in the heart.
Information I would really like to have heard from someone other than the judge.
Coroner says the death would have been all but instant from a wound like that.
You could say, in fact,
that the victim was killed twice by the accused.
No! That couldn't be further from the truth.
I hear the experiment plan document that was submitted to the security team. Victim stored himself inside something called the bird cage, ready to be beamed instantly. The second level of the Crystal Tower, about 25 yards away.
Experiment did not go according to plan, however. Kaboom! This machine was put into operation. There was a large explosion. The blast caused the beam transmitter to point higher than intended. Accordingly, the kinesis resulted in the birdcage materializing in mid-air, from where it subsequently fell, crashing through the glass of the Crystal Tower's large round window.
My word! One assumes the victim's neck was broken upon impact with the tower, then?
I'm so sorry. I didn't mean for this to happen, and the machine was just too powerful. But honestly, really, I swear, it was just an accident. A terrible accident. Fortunately, that excuse can't save you.
No, not considering the sharp murder weapon that pierced the victim's heart.
A murder weapon? What are you saying? This is an autopsy report submitted by the coroner. The prosecution would like it entered into the court record. Please show that to me.
Your request is granted, counsel.
Autopsy report also for the victim, Mr. Asman. His neck was broken from the impact of the violent fall, and he was stabbed in the chest with a sharp object. I was there in person, you know. I saw the whole ludicrous performance. Details of victim: Odie Osmond, male, 47, British. Coroner, Courtney Sith. Time of death, 21st of October, 2:20 p.m. What an odd detail to include. Cause of death, hemorrhage of a wound to the chest that pierced the heart inflicted by a sharp implement. Additional observations: a broken vertebrae, most likely resulting from impact after a sudden fall from considerable height. Hold on, I'm like fixing my headphone. Again, there we go. Ah, there we go. I'm back too. And the only other person on the stage with Mr. Asman was that disgraceful excuse was scientist. And really, by all accounts, it must have been him.
Hard to think otherwise, really. Very well, counsel for the defense. Proceed with the cross-examination, please.
Oh, yes, my lord. Yes, my lord. Need to focus here. It's been a while. You and me both, buddy. I'm glad we took our long break at the same time, where there's like a time gap in the game. Really makes you feel for him. Alright, affront for murder! Oops, I went crashing. Oh, sorry, this is the shit we read already. Press everything!
Hold it!
Are you suggesting that because he fell from a considerable height?
Exactly, which highlights something else about this whole business.
What's that?
The fact that the instantaneous kinesis itself was a success.
Ah.
After the explosion, the cage with the fella inside suddenly appeared out of nowhere in midair. So, although the experiment ended in disaster, the so-called instantaneous kinesis did actually occur. Remind us, Professor. What was the cause of the fatal disaster? Made a minor miscalculation in the angle.
Hold it!
So the angle of the projection is critical, is it? And you calculated it yourself, personally? Absolutely! The calculation is far too complicated for anyone but me to carry out.
Only you got it wrong, didn't you?
Yes, that's right! That's the point! The calculation's so complicated, even I can make a mistake. Do people fall for that brazen confidence? I should try it. I took into account the subject's height and weight, the wind direction, and the ambient temperature. I considered every possible variable. So just, I don't understand how could this have happened? Well, obviously, then you had to include the weight of the clothes Mr. Aspen was wearing at the time, I suppose. Ah. Crackling comments, the answer should have been 3! So much for safety first. The 3 must be for safety third. Post-mortem exam, fatal wound.
Hold it!
Another fatal injury, you say? That doesn't make any sense.
I didn't think I'd have to spell this out, but here we go. Just because there were 2 fatal wounds doesn't mean I'm saying the victim had 2 lives to lose, does it?
2, right.
Obviously, at first, we thought the bloke had died due to his spine snapping in half as well.
You're saying that's not the case?
You'll get your answer once I finish my fish and chips if you don't keep butting in every few seconds.
We all know that's a bottomless bag.
The victim plummeted 30 feet into a glass tower. It would be reasonable to assume that as the cause of death. Right, that's what we all thought. But it was a red herring, wasn't it?
There was a lesion in his chest. He got stabbed. The defense knew nothing of this crucial information.
The prosecution received this report from the forensic investigation team only this morning. That was the first we knew of it as well. I can only apologize for the impossibility of informing the defense.
Sarcastic and insincere. Thanks. So, what was the nature of this sharp object?
Among the accused tools that were in use at the demonstration, one is of particular interest. This. Ah, yes, that would appear to be some kind of screwdriver, wouldn't it, Counsel?
There he is! My trusty little companion, Andrew!
Andrew, of course.
Do you know each other already? He's one of my dear friends, like all my tools. I've named them all, you know. We're one big happy family. Alright, so the dude's a little loony. That's fine. Andrew's my flathead screwdriver, of course. His brother Michael is a crosshead.
Well, it would appear that your beloved Andrew has a red stain on his shank.
Ah, that isn't...
It's blood, beyond all reasonable doubt.
No!
That's not all. The long, sharp shape of this Andrew fellow is completely consistent with the victim's wound.
What?
Order, order! Court will enter this friend of the defendant as evidence.
Professor Harebrain's trusty screwdriver that he's named Andrew. There are traces of blood at the tip, and it matches the shape of the victim's wound. So one of Professor Harebrain's tools is the murder weapon? Great. Thanks, I hate it.
It's blood. Mr. Asmon's, no doubt. What's the problem with looking at murder weapons? Oh, there's no one for me to talk to. It's just me. I've seen this unusually shaped handle before. The same screwdriver that was lodged in the grill on the floor of the kinesis machine. Which could be important information, so I should definitely make a note of it. Very distinctive handle. All by yourself. Alright, could we possibly fire that out of this? Maybe? Well, if you used it as an arrowhead, I'm sure you could attach this to an arrow somehow. Great, thanks, I hate it. Killed before he went anywhere.
Hold it!
What grounds do you have for saying that? Ha! Do I really need to ask? There were only 2 people on the public experimentation stage in front of the whole crowd. The victim, Mr. VoD Asmon, and the accused, Professor Harebrain. We know for certain that before the experiment, the victim was alive. That's right, I saw him with my own eyes! Furthermore, following the explosion in kinesis, nobody went anywhere near the body. In other words, only someone else on stage. In other words, only someone else on stage with the victim could have possibly done it. You got something to say about that, Harebrain?
Excuse me.
Excuse me. Professor Harebrain! Yes, some information that may be relevant here. Do you have something you'd like to share with the rest of us, please? Professor? Sorry! I was just calculating the optimum coefficient of electrolysis to separate molecules of the human body. What? The what? And the witness stand is the best place for that? Bro. It seemed as though you might have something to say about Inspector Gregson's last remark. Yes, that's right! Of course! He just said that nobody else could have done it, didn't he? Yeah, that's right. Who else could have stabbed the victim, eh? I don't know, but... There's no way that I could possibly have stabbed Mr. Asmon as you say. Ah! Explain, please, Professor. Of course! This cold-hearted policeman may not be aware, I suppose. But humans are warm-blooded mammals with warm blood running continuously through their veins. I'd heard. And surely, you see, if I punched something the size of Andrew into the man's chest, the whole stage would have been a bloodbath. No, a blood swimming pool. But thousands of Londoners were watching me at the time. And yet not one of them claims to have seen a swimming pool of blood. Well, no, I suppose not. You see? Not one! True, I didn't see anything like that. Well done, Professor. That was a great counter-argument. Was it, though? Because, I mean, like... clothes can stop the gushing to some degree. Do we really have all the factors here? And then, like, I feel like, depending on, like, how you stab someone... Oh, my God. I don't... Look, I don't know this stuff. But I feel like that's not necessarily the case, that it's, like, every time you stab someone, it's always going to be gushing blood. Order! Pray forgive the discourtesy if I savor a drop from my own hallowed chalice to accompany my old friend's inducing. Here's to you, Albert.
Oh, you're too kind, Barrick. But I'm really not a patch on you.
No, you're not.
No?
You neglected to mention one crucial possibility.
I have?
A particular situation in which very little bleeding would result from a stab wound. Of course! Inspector, enlighten the court, please. Yes, sir.
Where are they going with this? I mean, I agree with it, but I don't know the logic behind it. I'm just like, pretty sure something's off about that statement.
Very well, you will amend your formal testimony now, Inspector Gregson. The weapon the victim was stabbed with must have been left in his body whilst he was beamed through the air. Hold it!
Sure. Oh yeah, the blood doesn't really rush out until after you move the thing. That's why sometimes, like, even after you've been stabbed, you like leave the blade in there. It still hurts, but it stops the bleeding a little bit until you can find a different way to stop the bleeding. Anyway, why would you think that, Inspector?
Any wound, it's only when you pull the weapon out that profuse bleeding occurs. Whilst it's still lodged in the body, it acts as a stopper of sorts, for want of a better word.
I see.
Don't need a medical degree to be aware of this fact. It's common knowledge for any investigator.
Where's Sasata-san when you need her?
If you ask me, this bloke masked what he was doing from a view with his body before stabbing Asmund in the chest. And he beamed the victim off the stage with his fancy device, the screwdriver still where he planted it.
I would never do such a thing! Not to my precious tools! I would never use them for such dirty work! You only use tools for their intended purpose! That's common knowledge for any scientist!
The fact remains that lack of blood at the scene can easily be explained, as the prosecution has demonstrated.
So, that's all the testimony I have to work with? I had no idea the victim had been stabbed. That changes everything. Did Van Zeeks keep that to himself until now on purpose to gain the advantage? Oh well, suppose all I can do is press these witnesses for as much new information as possible. Crashing through at a broken neck. Miscalculation. Fatal wound. Been stabbed by something sharp right in the heart. I don't know if I'd call a screwdriver sharp, though. Wouldn't this require, like, a lot of force to, like... Must have been left in his body while he was beamed through the air. Okay, well then what happened to it afterwards? No, but we found... Hold up. Where did we find the screwdriver? Found poking through the grill in the base of what remains of the kinesis machine. Yeah, that's like a direct contradiction right there. Okay. I see what we're doing. We're gonna save first, obviously. I'd present to you the screwdriver. Objection! You say that while the weapon remains in the body, there's very little bleeding. Is that unequivocal?
Look, there was no blood on the experimentation stage, even though that's where the fellow was stabbed. The only explanation for that is if the screwdriver was still in his body, stopping any heavy bleeding. It's common medical knowledge, my learned friend, even on your side of the world.
Yes, but about the screwdriver. The thing is, we actually saw it at the scene ourselves, on the experimentation stage.
What?
Yeah, it was on the floor by the wreckage of the machine, poking through a metal grill. I went to pick it up, but the detective here stopped me.
Isn't that right, Inspector Gregson? Ah, well, now you come to mention it, yes. Inspector, are we to understand that you permitted the defense counsel to investigate? That you contravened the Special Dispensation for Scientific Equipment Act? No, not at all. I wouldn't do that. I just let him look, nothing more. I was very clear he wasn't to touch a thing.
Yeah, it's true.
The screwdriver was in plain sight on the stage. But it shouldn't have been, should it? What are you getting at? If this tool had still been in the victim's body when the victim was beamed away by the machine, then it shouldn't have still been on the stage. Ah. That's right. It should have been beamed across the crystal tower along with Mr. Asman. And been found still lodged in the victim's chest. Oh. Ah! Order! How do you explain this, Inspector? I don't... Yep. There we go. It looks as though everything that the victim had on his person moved with him when he was beamed. If the screwdriver was still in his chest when the instantaneous kinesis occurred, obviously that should have been beamed to the destination as well. Ew. This is a strange situation. Even though people are saying that this instantaneous kinesis is a scientific impossibility, we're still basing arguments on the assumption that it did actually take place. Alright, time to tighten the screws here. My lord, if the prosecution is unable to explain this inconsistency in its argument, we can only conclude that the testimony given in support cannot be relied upon. Lord Van Zeeks is stumped. Why are you making this more difficult for yourself and for me? Bro. Okay. I have something to say, witness.
Yes, I knew it! It bears out. The equations hold. Mr. Naruhodo, don't worry!
About what?
Without delving into the details, there's no inconsistency!
Bro. My dude. You want me to find inconsistencies. Oh, God. What?
Even if Andrew had been lodged in Mr. Asman's chest, my trusty tool wouldn't have been moved. Andrew remaining on stage is consistent with my calculations. What?
Dude, I feel you. That's how I feel right now, too. You and me? Same wavelength right now, Van Zeeks. What the fuck? It would seem your illusions have been shattered. Clearly, we should hear the accused's explanation. Or should I say, this brilliant scientist's explanation? This one I'd found an inconsistency in the prosecution's argument. Scientist. Very well, the defendant will testify again. Provide us with a scientific explanation. Provide us with a scientific explanation as to why the inconsistency asserted by the defense fails to hold.
In the name of Apollo, I will, my lord.
Who's Apollo? At this point in time, who the fuck is Apollo other than, you know, the Greek god? The inconsistency explained.
To be clear, I'm still at the stage of gathering data in my research. My hypothesis states that the kinesis cannot transport metal, though. Hence, the metal weapon would have stayed put. In other words, the point just raised by Mr. Nanaho isn't an inconsistency at all.
Fuck, that's wood. But this is metal. His glasses are metal, are they not? That button certainly looks metal as well. Oh, yeah, I don't think they had plastic yet, so that's gotta be a metal button. I object to this statement.
Mr. Asmund was the patron of my research. Without him, my work wouldn't have been possible. Now I have a duty to protect the incredible machine that we built together.
So, the thrust of your testimony, Professor, is that based upon his hypothesis, metal objects cannot be moved by this method of instantaneous kinesis. In other words, oh, hold up, there's an ad playing.
I need a minute anyway. So we'll go ahead and take the ad break. Alright, BRB, guys.
Tell me what the contents of these boxes is. Unfortunately, there's no English written on them anywhere. One cluster of boxes is written in Borginian. Here it says... Despair, funny key, scissors, leaf, eyeball, Kamehameha! It is cloth in English. And tombstone. Book! Book. Map? Book. Tombstone! Good job, us. I'm so proud of our warrior of light. Fucking tombstones. What were you thinking? That's... yeah. They were just too much. You get sick of them after a while. Like, the year when a certain organization tried to feed us nothing but sandwiches for a week. And by the last day, they were all bad because they made them all on the first day. Then some people, all you got was a lettuce and mayo sandwich, and it was awful.
Typical. Most of the time, these trees won't stop rustling. But as soon as I need their opinion, then silence is golden.
Thanks for the spirit wood. I think you've got some issues that we need to maybe talk about. Ooh, money though.
As a result, I brought this knife so I could shank this bitch next to me if he doesn't fucking give me back my coin. I know he took it. There was no one else there.
Bro, what? Bro, what?
Excuse me? Anyway, the fact remains, myself, I
Help here. I need a savior to rescue me from this crisis.
Great, thanks, I hate it. What the? What are you doing up there? Mr. Sholmes? Why are you wearing the tiara?
Alright, chat, I'm back. I'm back, you're back, we're all back. Okay. Alright, where we left off.
In other words...
In other words, since the screwdriver is made of metal, even if it remained lodged in the victim's chest, and subsequent discovery on the stage despite the victim being found elsewhere is not an inconsistency.
And therefore...
Professor Albert Harebrain could still have been the killer.
My great hypothesis holds, you see! You have no idea what kind of situation you're in.
We had to make the cage used to contain the subject from wood for that very reason.
I was not addressing you, witness. Professor Hairbrain.
Yes?
Whose side are you on here?
I don't take sides, Mr. Naruhodo. No. My only interest lies in upholding my hypothesis. I'm a scientist after all.
Right. Is he working for us or against us? It's very hard to tell. Let's see how you cross-examine this testimony, my Nipponese friend. Could you maybe stop being racist?
Yes, fire away, Mr. Naruhodo.
The inconsistency explained. Alright, we'll press everything, and then I'm gonna pose my theory about, like, what about his glasses and his button? Because those very much look like metal. We didn't have... I don't know if we had, like, plastic back in these days. Still gathering data. And yet you retort to my argument wasn't lacking in confidence in any way.
No scientist can find the truth without first finding self-belief. Those were the words of a certain scientist I hold in the very highest esteem.
But you realize that just proving my argument puts you in a very precarious position, don't you?
No scientist should strive to protect himself more than he strives to protect the truth. More words of the same great scientist, you know.
Fine, I respect it, but I still hate it. Words that are causing me a lot of trouble. Who is this scientist?
I'm afraid I couldn't tell you, Mr. Naruhodo. But as soon as I remember the magnificent genius's name, he'll be the first to know!
It might be worth keeping the names of your idols in mind. You're wasting your breath, my learned friend. The scatterbrain even forgets my name at times. So, Lord Van Zeeks really did have a friend once. Huh. I didn't notice hell freezing over. Oh, yeah, can't transport metal.
Hold it!
Your hypothesis states it, so this isn't proven then?
No, of course not. It's merely a hypothesis, but a good one, based upon thousands of calculations. But it is widely known that metals can't be decomposed by electrolysis. Yes, of course, so I am right. My hypothesis is clearly correct.
What is it about incriminating himself that makes this man so happy?
It's the whole reason that the birdcage is made of wood, you see.
Sorry, the birdcage?
Yes, that's what I call the C. obtusa cage in which Mr. Aspen was placed for the kinesis.
Ah, the jail cell in which the victim was detained. It does indeed seem to be made of timber of some sort. I'll thank you not to refer to it as an instrument of incarceration, your lordship. In short, any weapon lodged in the victim when he was beamed away by instantaneous kinesis would have been left behind on the stage if it was made of metal, correct?
Yes, that's it. Yes. It all fits perfectly with the mathematical model.
The ultimate conclusion, then, is that the defendant alone had the opportunity to inflict this fatal injury on the victim, is it not? Ah, indeed, sir! Someone beat me out of this nightmare. Alright, so my point's not an inconsistency. So he says. We're getting there, though. You seem to be pleased by that.
Yes, another example of my hypothesis holding true. I sense some sarcasm, Mr. Naruhodo. Are you not pleased?
No. No.
I knew it. At the end of the day, I'm the one responsible for Mr. Asman losing his life. The advancement of science is no excuse. I know that.
Nah, you're quite right. Tell the court, did you have a close relationship with Mr. Asman?
Oh, well, no, not really. I mean, I'd only met him 2 or 3 times. But we only ever discussed my hypothesis in the project.
And the research grant, of course. He was the patron.
Hold it!
How did you come to know Mr. Asman in the first place?
A year ago now, a small provincial science journal published a little paper about my work.
That is indeed a small paper, if that's the actual copy. That is a tiny book. What's a scientific journal? Good gracious, I should need new spectacles.
I might have had an extraordinary hypothesis and great promise, but at the time I had no money. I had to eat tiny little meals at a tiny little cafe and drink watered down water out of a tiny little glass. But Mr. Asman read the paper and came to visit me at my tiny little laboratory.
And offered you money to help fund your work?
Exactly! That's exactly what happened. I handled the theoretical side of things, and Mr. Asman provided me with an engineer for the practical. And the 3 of us produced a fantastic machine together.
Who's the engineer? Machine that brought you to the great exhibition to demonstrate.
We had to apply to the government for some sort of inspection to be allowed to exhibit, I think. I didn't understand all that side of things. Mr. Asman took care of it all. He was a wonderful man, really. I owe him everything. Hey, 21 Snakes, how's it going? How are you doing?
Now he has a duty to protect the thing.
Hold it!
Glad to hear it. We're just doing the trial, and then Professor Hairbrain keeps digging us in a bigger hole for the name of science. Ah, science. I'm doing good. I was watching a online concert before I started to stream today, and I was like, that put me in a good mood. I think I'll start a little early.
We do it for the science!
When you say that you built the machine together, does that mean you were involved in its construction?
Yes! Well, not exactly. I'm not good with the practical side of machines myself. So, the physical construction was done by an engineer.
Who's the engineer? Please tell me who this engineer is. Little remains of your creation now, though, following the explosion. Repair will no doubt be impossible.
Yes, I realize that, but still... If someone were to gather all the broken parts, they could discover the secret of my hypothesis. And Mr. Asman and I toiled over that machine for so long. We put our hearts and souls into it. I have to protect our work. So what's left of the machine must be kept safe. That's only fair, because what happened was an accident.
That's the extent of the testimony, then. Thank goodness for that. I don't want him doing any more damage. He's already basically proven that he could have been the culprit. But it seems as though all he really cares about is defending his hypothesis. Still, I wonder, what if his hypothesis is just fundamentally flawed? I already have an idea. Cannot transport metal. Okay, we're gonna save. Save often. Alright, I'm pretty sure that the glasses and the button on Mr. Asman are metal, given the time period. So let's give this a try. Objection! Professor Hairbrain, you say that according to your hypothesis, nothing made of metal can be beamed by instantaneous kinesis using the machine you made. Is that right?
Yes, that's right. Spot on. Exactly correct.
In that case, I'd like to have you a close look at this. I'd ask you to have a look at this photograph that was taken at the scene. In particular, I'd like you to pay attention to the victim's face. You can clearly see that Mr. Asman is wearing a pair of spectacles with a metal rim.
What? Metal? No! Metal can't... That's not... Metal? No!
We've already established that the proposed murder weapon, the screwdriver, was found on the stage. Oh, you just can't see me making the hand gestures if the camera crashes. Come on. Come on, OBS. What are you doing? There it goes. Alright, we've already established that the proposed murder weapon, the screwdriver, was found on the stage. However, if your hypothesis correctly predicted that outcome, it should also have predicted that the metal-rimmed spectacles would be found in the same place.
Ah! My hypothesis! My hypothesis!
Professor Hairbrain, this isn't easy for me to say, but your hypothesis is clearly flawed.
Ah!
Order, order, order! Council, what is the implication of this? If, on the day in question, the alleged instantaneous kinesis never actually took place, then it's entirely possible that the victim was killed somewhere other than on the stage. And, in that case, someone other than the defendant could have been the culprit.
But my hypothesis is sound! I proved it that day. The experiment was a success. The experiment was proof of all my work.
I could say something here in my capacity as a fellow of the Royal Society. Yes, juror number 4, go ahead. As a man of science, there's only one thing I simply cannot abide. And that's a fraud who pretends to be a fellow man of science.
What? Wait! Great Scott! Are you suggesting my science is suspect?
It's just been disproved, hasn't it, in front of us all? In other words, the whole demonstration was a complete nonsense from start to finish. Believe me, my fellow jurors, when I tell you that this man is a heel, a bounder, and a fraud. I say the wreckage of that machine should be stripped down and thoroughly examined.
No, never! That machine is the essence of my entire hypothesis! It's protected by the Special Dispensation for Scientific Equipment Act!
Oh, what the devil is the blasted act all about, eh? Who made up such a daft rule? I don't like the way this seems to be going. What's the best way for me to help the professor? Raise an objection, I guess. Yep, let's do it.
Objection!
We gotta say something, right? Professor Hairbrain has yet to perfect his invention. That would seem to be the case, yes. But even so, what? Going to such trouble and expense to create a fake machine to display in public? He would have absolutely no reason to do such a thing.
Objection!
He had an obvious reason to do exactly that. For the research grant money. The government was foolish enough to have deemed the man's ridiculous notion plausible. He and his conspirators would have received a handsome sum indeed. Conspirators?
What would be the value of such a grant? £10?
Oh, an order of magnitude out, madam. £500 a year.
You could live a handsome life on that for much years.
Society's noticed an increase in bogus public demonstrations in the field of science recently. And plenty of scientists arguing with each other to get the largest slice of the funding cake. People's greed is plenty motive enough for murder, I assure you. Oof.
No! I haven't deceived anyone, least of all the government. My hypothesis is sound. The science is sound. Please, you must believe me.
Objection!
No matter how unbelievable this hypothesis may seem to you, ladies and gentlemen, the fact remains that the victim was transported instantly to the Crystal Tower. which means that the experiment was a success.
Barak!
Don't side with him. He's trying to get you thrown in jail for murder. And therefore, the only person who could have possibly committed the murder is the accused.
Ah, Barak.
Where is this heading? I have no idea. My lord, if I may. Yes, Lord Van Zeeks. Prosecution would like to summon new witnesses to the stand. New witnesses? What would be the nature of their involvement? They were spectators of the demonstration of the exhibition, who were occupying special seats. Eyewitnesses? Never heard about that. But, you know, par for the course. Very well, the court grants the prosecution's request. I should very much like to hear from eyewitnesses to the incident. Prosecution's stance is clear. This experiment was no postiche. The accused killed the financier victim there on the public stage, before the very eyes of the spectators. Now, my learned friend. Oh, yes? It's time for you to make your own stance clear. What? The who and the what now? What do you want me to do? There's clearly a flaw in the professor's hypothesis. I can definitely see that. But where does that leave me? We shall take a short recess for now, during which time the prosecution will prepare its new witnesses to take the stand. As you wish, my lord. Good. In that case, court is adjourned for 20 minutes. Well, we got partway through. All right. And we continue on. 23rd of October, 10:44 a.m. The Old Bailey Defendant's Antechamber.
Mr. Naruhodo. What on earth were you playing at just now? Or rather, what on earth were you playing at all along? My hypothesis, my amazing hypothesis! You've been picking holes in it from the start!
Sorry about that.
But you promised me! You said you'd prove that dreaded explosion was an accident, not murder! You said you'd keep my precious invention from falling into anyone else's hands! But all you've done so far is try to undermine me!
You and I have different points of view on how this needs to happen. Yes, I did make you a promise, you're right. I said that I'd believe in you and fight for your freedom to the very end. But I also told you I was no scientist. I don't understand your hypothesis. The fact is, an undeniable flaw in your logic is... The fact is, there's an undeniable flaw in your logic, isn't there?
But if I just run through some equations... Yes, you see? It's because my work is incomplete.
Perhaps it is. Nevertheless, a man died as a consequence, didn't he?
Oh. Oh, no! You're right. You're so right. It's all my fault. I have no right to blame you for my failures. I'm a disaster. Not just as a scientist, but as a human being.
Yeah, I mean, it did take you until just now to realize that, yeah, you kind of killed a man. Although, I'm sure by the end of this we're gonna be like, oh, you didn't actually kill a man. You're safe. It was somebody else's plot all along, and they're just putting you up as a front. Take the blame. You're a scapegoat. Well, that might be a little over the top.
And while we're on the subject... what about Barak? He's being awful!
I tried to tell you...
That's That's just kind of how he is now. He's kind of a dick.
Claiming his old university friend to be a murderer, you mean?
He's a disaster. Not just as a prosecutor, but as a human being. Oh, but no, wait. He's the Reaper, isn't he? Perhaps he's not classified as a Homo sapiens anymore?
Ooh, your leaps of logic are something else, my dude. Glad that's cleared up. Can I double check something with you?
Yes? What?
Machine and demonstration you prepared. They were based entirely on your hypothesis, I presume. There was no trickery involved?
I drew the plans for the machine with my very own hands. Every line was painstakingly drawn with a firm belief that science is the only future. So yes, it's true that my hypothesis hasn't reached maturity yet, but please, Mr. Naruhodo, you must believe in it.
All right, Professor, I understand. Counsel, defendant! Prosecution's witnesses are ready to take the stand. Court is about to be in session again. Make your way into the courtroom, please. It all hinges on that demonstration. The professor's hypothesis is sound as he claims. It leaves him as the only person who could possibly have killed the victim. But on the other hand, Mr. Sholmes was adamant. A practical implementation, such as was attempted by the professor at the Great Exhibition, is quite impossible. So really, what should I be trying to prove here? This is a bit of a moral dilemma, isn't it? 23rd of October, 11 o'clock a.m. The Old Bailey courtroom. In the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby reconvene the proceedings of this court. Counsel for the defense and prosecution, are you ready for the new witnesses to testify? Prosecution is ready, my lord. As is the defense, my lord. So, Lord Van Zeeks, I believe these next witnesses saw the demonstration on the day in question with their own eyes. Indeed, they did. And as luck would have it, one of them is a police detective. The testimony we are about to hear can be considered highly reliable. Is one of them Gina? Perfect, a detective of all people. Prosecution's stance remains unchanged. Though it ended in tragedy, the demonstration on the day in question was scientifically sound. And consequently, the sole person with the opportunity to have committed this act of murder is the only other individual to have been present on the stage at the time, the accused. Thank you, counsel. The prosecution's position is clear.
Okay, but we kind of like skipped over the fact of like, why did his glasses get ported over? Because I pointed it out, and they're just like, he's a quack! And then like, we didn't go back to talking about the fact that like, the glasses got ported over. We just like kind of like skipped it. Like, yeah, we're not gonna like dig more into that. That's not a big deal. We're just gonna like skip right over it. It's like, it's... all right.
So, bring forth your witnesses now. Bailiff, show the witnesses in. The witnesses whose proximity to the incident on the day in question will clarify the truth, unequivocally. Kind of like link this back to the mannequin shit. Some. What if? Oh, look, there's Ginny. What if a mannequin was used? What if a wax mannequin got used somehow to perpetuate this crime? There's got to be like some link to that. We'll figure it out. Witnesses, state your names and occupations for the court to hear. My name is Balthazar Loon. I am the impresario of the hot air balloons in the vicinity of the experimental stage.
My name is William Gottfried Sigismund Ornstein. I have come to see the great exhibition all the way from my home in Bohemia. I'm very rich.
Okay, that's a thing to learn to say.
Inspector Gina Lestrade, Scotland Yard. I'm a great detective, even Alex Sholmes agrees. I was on security duty at the exhibition, and I got to go up in one of them balloons. It was amazing.
Gina, again. But she did mention that she'd seen the disaster from up in the balloon, actually, didn't she? And she clearly loved every minute of it. There were 3 balloons flying near the public experimentation stage when the incident occurred. Are you just gonna, like, trust that she is a full-on police officer and inspector now and not question the fact that 6 months ago... I think that was the case 6 months ago. But several months ago, you accused her of being a murderess. You're just gonna, like, completely trust her now. Okay, sure. Whatever makes you happy. 2 of these witnesses were in one such balloon at the time and saw events unfold from the skies above. You make it sound like they were in the clouds. It was only an altitude of circa 60 feet. Very low.
Well, you can't see nothing if you fly too high, can you?
60 feet? About 18 meters then. Thank you for your introductions. Now you will give your formal testimony for the court. Kindly describe exactly what you witnessed, especially those of you who are at a vantage point above the stage. A view from 60 feet up. It was an incidente terrible. I'm only grateful that my balloons were not damaged.
There's this huge bang from the stage, and then the next second, another bang in the sky beside us. And from amidst the smoke, a cage appeared out of nowhere.
A cage! It fell from the sky like a stone and crashed into the crystal tower.
I didn't get a good look inside the cage, but no one went near it after it crashed into the tower.
Most extraordinary collective account, I must say. Can I just clarify something? There's a detail in the witness's testimony that I've not heard any mention of until now. Specifically, that there were 2 explosions? More precisely, 2 explosions in 2 separate places, yes. When the demonstration began, the balloon carrying the 2 witnesses was around here. There were other balloons in the air nearby at the time, carrying other passengers as well, to be clear. Kaboom! Then, as the power was supplied to the machine for the demonstration, the first explosion occurred. The so-called birdcage that contained the victim disappeared from the stage. And a moment later, the second explosion occurred directly adjacent to the balloon carrying the witness. That's kind of close to that balloon. Okay. So, crazy hypothesis time. So this was all a clear setup for a sham by the engineer in cahoots with Odiasmin so they could get that grant money. They're just funding some like crazy thing that just like sounded really impressive that they could like definitely fudge it. So my suspicion is there should have been like some kind of like secret or trapdoor or whatever, and then he would like run away during the explosion here, and then during the explosion up here they would like chuck down a thing, another cage out of the balloon here, to, like, land here. For why? I don't know. Not sure if this was, like, went as intended or if something went wrong yet. The birdcage appeared at the site of the explosion, subsequently to plummet down into the crystal tower.
I was very surprised. Suddenly, a cage appeared before my eyes with a person inside. The blast was so hot, but I didn't want to miss a thing, so I kept my eyes wide. I still have lots of money.
Okay. Precisely who is this curious infant? Told he's a young noble of Bohemian royalty. Apparently, he disguised himself in order to steal unnoticed into the Great Exhibition.
Yeah, I am here in London on a sightseeing trip with my elementary school.
You will have the benefit of a child's point of view in the testimony.
Do we really need that? When I remove my mask, this is what I look like.
Ah, yes, I see. A delightful face, I'm sure.
Yeah, everybody says so.
Great disguise, then. Point is, the testimony of these witnesses further substantiates the facts for the court. Namely, that despite ending in an explosion, instantaneous kinesis was successfully demonstrated. And furthermore, that until the arrival of the police, no one approached the crystal tower where the victim fell. So it could have been a mannequin. Which got switched with a body, which may or may not be a body double. I don't know. Therefore, only the accused who was with Mr. Asman on the stage could possibly have committed the murder. Yes, thank you, counsel. The prosecution's views on the matter are quite clear. So, the defense's cross-examination now, please. Yes, my lord. We press everything.
It was a terrible incident.
There were 3 balloons flying above the experimentation stage at the time, I understand.
Si, all 3 of them my bellissimi bambini. They are very popular, signor. Some people will pay £10 for one ride.
10 pounds? That's a lot of money. That's more than my annual stipend. They don't pay you a lot.
£20 a month, that is my bucket money.
Rails have all the luck.
I got up there for free, I did. Played the old I work for Her Majesty's police card, you know?
Detectives have all the luck. God damn it, Gina. They're so popular, why would you only be operating such a small number of balloons, though?
Because if I have too many in the skies, they could crash into each other.
The operators for the balloons were decided by lots, with each operator manning a particular area.
See, and then zone above public experimentation stage is the most profitable. The other impresarios, they hate me.
Thank you, witness. I think the court has a clear picture of the arrangements for balloon rides at the exhibition. Perhaps we could hear more about what you actually witnessed of the incident.
Why, I can fill you in there, my lord. There was a bang, and then another bang!
So you actually saw the accident happen from up in the air.
Yup, in an amazing war a detective gets to do, eh? I'm telling you, Odo, being a lawyer's a mug's game. You should join the force and we can go flying together. You know me so well.
Yes, well, anyway, could you tell us exactly what you saw, do you think?
Everything! We saw everything because we were up above it all. dodgy cove climbing into the cage and that dodgy professor pulling all them levers. And that's when it happened. That's when there was a massive bang and the cage disappeared just like that.
You're describing the moment the subject's body was decomposed by the electricity, I believe.
I didn't know what to make of it. But then there was another bang right in the air. I looked around and there was a huge great fireball right next to us in the sky.
That's Peter.
There was nothing there before. Gina, did you exaggerate? Child, would you like to tell me something?
Excuse me.
Excuse me there, young child whose name I do not know. You are some anonymous Bohemian royalty here on an elementary school field trip. You have something to say. Oh, we did get his name. Master Gotts? Does your memory of the day differ?
My teacher at elementary school said that when you meet someone for the first time, you should always use their full name.
Yes, what was it again?
Wilhelm Gottfried Sigismund Ormstein.
Just the foreign names, then. The point is, do you have something to say? Something to add in response to Detective Gina Lestrade's last remark, perhaps?
Boy, get it right, Otto. It's Inspector Lestrade.
Why does everyone have a problem with how I address them at the moment? Why?
That is not what I saw.
Oh?
Yeah, there was a second explosion and it was right beside our balloons, that is true. But I'm sure. Which is what I said, in it? 1 minute there was nothing, then there was a massive... Next there was a massive explosion. My teacher at elementary school said that when someone else is speaking, if you're rude enough to interrupt, you will have the most awful life imaginable.
Are all Bohemians brought up to be so full of joy? Here's another balloon for you, kid. That's 3 balloons that I can count.
Just before the second explosion happened next to our balloon, I clearly witnessed a green balloon flying in the sky.
A green balloon?
Wait, you what? I never saw nothing like that. Well, I did. I saw it, and you can't say I didn't. I will complain to the consul. I will cry and scream. My testimony is the truth. I am Bohemian Prince. You cannot say it's a lie. That is not allowed.
It's throwing a tantrum. All right, got it.
Playing the bleeding royalty card, are ya? Typical.
Says the orphan who likes to remind people she works for Her Majesty's police. In that case, young man, I must ask you to amend your formal testimony. In the interests of cordial national relations between Great Britain and Bohemia.
It was not the sky that exploded. It was a green balloon that was next to ours at the time.
Hold it!
A green balloon, you say? Are you sure about that?
Of course I am sure. I am a proud Bohemian Prince. All these questions are making me boring.
I think you mean bored.
English is very annoying. The language of my countrymen is far superior.
The moon runes!
Ragazzo, it is very wrong to lie.
Lie?
Flying balloons never explode, for the same reason that planets never explode. It is logical.
Please tell me that doesn't mean logical.
You insult me, you insult all of Bohemia. And I will have the army come and shoot all of your stupid balloons out of the sky. All of them.
You're a little intense, kid. And that's the 4th balloon for you. Here you go.
Here you are, your highness.
If only all international incidents were so easily resolved. Now that peaceful relations have been restored here in the courtroom, perhaps we could return to the testimony. Do you also need to see that moment the cage materialized, Mr. Loon? No, I did not see the explosion myself. However, the cage, it fell from the sky like a stone. Oh, and then it crashed the crystal tower. Okay, yeah. I remember that now. Did you see that actually happen? No, in reality, I did not. I saw after it had hit the tower. There was a grand confusion around the stage. I ran to see what had happened. I was terrorized by the idea that one of my balloons had crushed. I suppose they are his livelihood. But when I looked up into the sky, all my precious balloons were still there.
I saw it though. I saw it slam into the tower. After all, I am a detective now.
Then tell us what you saw, Inspector Lestrade.
That's what I like to hear.
She didn't get a good look, but no one went and looked at it after it crashed. Was it you who gave the order to keep people away?
What? Use your head, Otto. How could it have been me? I was up in a balloon, weren't I?
Right.
Because I wasn't available, it was the boss who had to leg it over there. He was getting shoved and kicked all over by the panicking spectators as he tried to seal off the scene. It was a real sight to behold, I can tell you. Amazing!
She watched Gregson suffer. That's funny. Or Inspector Gregson.
Well, anyway, I couldn't see the cage that well because of all the smoke. I didn't really want to see, to be honest. I was scared out of my wits.
Keep it together, Inspector. Alright, the prosecution's really asserting that the demonstration was genuine. But what if it was actually some kind of switch-around trick instead? That would mean that the victim was never actually on the stage in the first place. The two explosions would have thrown everyone watching into a panic for sure. I think I need to find out more about what exactly people saw at the time. Alright, his balloons were not damaged. But they saw one explode. But one was green? And 2 bangs. The green balloon. Page from the sky like a stone and then crashed into the tower. Okay, do I have any evidence? Green balloon! Oh. Oh, a green balloon. We have a green canvas. Okay. All right, let's try it. A long shot. Nope. Okay. Surely something about that last statement. No. I don't want to... It's not that I'm trying to object to it, it's just that I want to... I think there's a link here. Assured, we should be happy to carry proceedings forward in your absence, counsel. Sounds serious. Alright, don't get sent back home. You're fine. I need to find a way to link. It's definitely a link here. This really looks like a crossbow. There were 3 balloons. Hold up. How many balloons were there? Balloons were not damaged. Green balloon next to theirs. No one went in. Oh. Can we talk about the number of balloons?
Because they showed 3, but there's only 2 here. The sketch.
Hold it!
Alright, I'm gonna repress. I think I'm missing something. There were 3 balloons, right? Yes, all 3 of them. Some people will pay £10 for one ride. Yeah. That's pocket money to him. She got in for free. Okay. Okay. There were 3 balloons.
Hold it!
Okay, yours we didn't finish because you were interrupted. Yep, what a detective gets to do. Yep. She saw everything. That's what happened. Massive bang. Yeah, and then that was the moment. She didn't know what to make of it. Another bang right in her ear. Huge, great fireball right next to them in the sky, and there was nothing there before. What appears out of the flames? The cage, that's what. Now that description sounds like the moment after the man was beamed instantaneously through space. It's mind-blowing, isn't it? But that's the 20th century for you, I reckon. The people who actually saw the demonstration with their own eyes really believed that they saw something miraculous taking place. It's a green balloon that exploded. Can I press this more?
Hold it!
A green balloon, you say? Are you sure about that? Yeah. And then this is where we were like, oh, you mean bored. He's very sure it was green. Wrong to lie. Flying balloons don't explode. And then that's the international incident. Then he pays him for another balloon. See the moment the cage materialized. It has to be the first statement with the sketch, is what I'm thinking. Okay, let's try that one. He's grateful his balloons weren't damaged, but I'm only seeing 2 here.
Objection!
No, that's not it. What am I missing? It's like I have an idea of where we're going, I just don't know how to get there. Yep, okay. Perhaps I need to reconsider this. Okay. Cage fell from the sky like a stone and then crashed in the crystal tower. Did he see it though? No. Thought afterwards. Terrorized by the idea that one of the balloons had crashed. All of his balloons were still there though. But she saw something. Oh shit. I didn't mean to hit space there. I was trying to read that. Oh my god. No one went in, and then she stopped Lestrade. Crashed in the crystal tower. Shows an apparent stab wound to the chest. Which balloon is he referring to, then? Let's try this one.
Objection!
Nope, not that one. I'm not waiting for this. We're just gonna reload. Have to go through his whole, oh, we fucked up thing. Time save. Okay. Says he saw a green balloon explode. It was a green balloon next to theirs. What balloon, though, according to the diagram? Maybe this one? Nope. No. I don't want to sit through his... This is faster. Okay. Shoot, how do we get there? Scorch marks around the edges. I mean, this is definitely from the balloon. We just don't know that yet. Parent stab wound to the chest. Okay. If there was an explosion, would that not show up on the autopsy report? Cage fell from the sky like a stone, and then it crashed in the crystal tower. She got a look inside the cage, but no one went near it. Oh, she didn't get a good look in the cage. And no one went near it. Parent stab wound. Neck broken from the impact of a violent fall. And he was stabbed in the chest with a sharp object. I swear to God, this is a crossbow. It crashed into the tower. I guess that would be proof that it crashed in, because there's pieces of crystal glass there. Missing something. Cage fell from the sky like a stone. Crashed into the tower. The green balloon that was next to theirs that exploded. See, this doesn't make sense though with what the balloon guy is saying is the problem. Huge bang from the stage, and then there's another bang in the sky beside them. He says his balloons weren't damaged. What I want to ask him is like, how many balloons did you have? Can I try showing him this on this statement already? I think I tried showing him this. I don't remember if I tried showing him this, though.
Objection!
Oh, it was that. Mr. Loon, in your testimony, you said that all 3 of the balloons you had operating at the time were undamaged. See, that is correct. They had been caught in the explosions. It would have been terrible. I wonder if you might know what this is? I think it may be... See, part of a balloon. A burnt piece of fabric of the envelope. Sorry, the envelope?
Pardon, that is the large round part of the balloon which becomes filled with hot air. It is made from very thick fabric lined with rubber. Do not want it to rip when you are in the sky. Just as I thought. This piece of cloth was found near the experimentation stage. In other words, as Master Gotts testified, a green balloon did indeed explode that day. Eh? If all the balloons in the sky above the experimentation stage belong to you, Mr. Loon, then your statement that they were all undamaged clearly contradicts the evidence. No! You popped all those balloons. Balloon exploded that day. Why didn't the man say so? Maybe everyone on board was killed. Oh no, just having to spend 10 old pounds will the experience. How awful.
Seems to me like those things crash 50% of the time anyway.
The instantaneous kinesis did occur, but after the explosion on the stage, the point of materialization shifted to a location occupied by a balloon. Causing the balloon to explode? Yes, eminently plausible. An unfortunate traffic accident, as it were, but it changes nothing about the pertinent facts. This I cannot accept! Why not, Mr. Loon? You are suggesting that I am a liar? That person's died in a balloon incidente. There's no need to get fired up, Mr. Loon. The victim was the sole fatality that day. That's right, and I prove it. Balthazar Loon is not a liar. There was no such balloon in the sky. It is non-possible. You're saying it's impossible? Why? This court has more important matters to discuss than the number of balloons that were operating that day. No. I feel this is very important, and I would like to continue on this line of questioning. Please.
Objection.
But we can't ignore the fact that nobody appears to have known anything about this other balloon until now. My lord. The defense calls for further testimony from Mr. Loon. I concur. There is clearly more to the truth here than meets the eye. It's imperative that we clear up the issue of this phantom balloon, I feel. Witness, you will give supplementary testimony about the balloons you were operating at the exhibition. Grazie, my lord. Mr. Loon's balloons! As I said, Balthazar Loon is no liar. Every balloon I had in the sky landed safely. All 3 of my balloons were carrying passengers. They fell to the ground in an explosion. What a catastrophe! Well, you can't get away from the fact that a burnt-up bit of cloth was found at the scene, can ya? Cop was at the yard work, and it was probably some debris thrown from the explosion on the stage. This stupido ragazzo is mistaken! My balloons have the red and blue zigzag stripes anyway. So they are a different color. So your assertion is that the balloon this child saw was not one belonging to you? Si! Exactamente! If he even saw a balloon in the first place, I do not like the sound of it. It is very bad for business. I have a good mind to sue the land of Bohemia. If you attack us, we will fight back. It will be war. I'll have war. Dude, 4 means something else, child. And then he buys a balloon. What happened to all-out war? Right. Well, Mr. Loon certainly doesn't appear to be lying. But that doesn't change the fact that the testimony and evidence are contradictory here. The defense is unable to find fault with the witness's statements. The court must consider them the truth. Think long and hard on that, my learned friend. The situation has clearly changed now. I have to get to the bottom of what happened here, no matter what it takes. The truth is that there was another balloon!
Counsel, you may now cross-examine the witnesses.
Mr. Loon's balloons. No, liar! All his balloons landed safely. Yours did, but what about the other people? You couldn't just have forgotten one, maybe? Signor. I might not notice if I was given 100 lentils and one was missing. But we are talking about 3 enormous balloons! Do you believe I could make a mistake about something so grand and expensive? I took the liberty of having Inspector Gregson check this gentleman's warehouse. I have the report here. It clearly says a total of 3 balloons. Would appear no mistake has been made then. Surely Miss Lestrade could have sent for such a menial task. Could have been sent for such a menial task.
What? Me? I'll tell you what I told the boss. East End kids like me can only count up to 2.
Obviously that ain't true, but the boss bought it and said he'd have to go himself in that case. She's playing him like a fiddle. 3 of his balloons were carrying passengers.
Hold it!
It would be quite a catastrophe if they fell to the ground for any reason, I think. On that note, Mr. Loon, tell me, what is it that keeps these balloons in the sky?
Are you an idiota?
Sorry?
That is like asking, why does a candle burn bright?
It burns bright because it burns bright. And a balloon flies because it flies. What else? This must be Italian for I don't know. There are 2 types of flying balloons, hot air balloons and gas balloons. Hot air balloons work on the principle of hot air being less dense than cold air, whereas gas balloons derive their lift by using a gas that is lighter than air. See, and my balloons are filled with the magic gas, I believe. Hydrogen, lighter than air, but highly explosive.
Good lord!
I do not permit smoking of the cigarettes on any of my balloons. The magic gas does not like fire. Even a small spark of static electricity could cause the entire balloon to explode. And we're around a high voltage electricity experiment. Okay. That sounds safe.
What is the matter with you, senor? All that comes out of your mouth is explosion, explosion!
I tell you, my balloons are perfectly safe. They have to be, or I cannot eat. None of my balloons exploded that day. I am completely sure. But if you still say that is what happened, you must show me the proof. Alright, so Mr. Luna had 3 balloons in the air that day. If none of them were damaged, then... Oh, it's the one that exploded! His look of confusion is really good. It's like, holy shit. Yeah, burned up bit of cloth was found. I was surprised to find that piece of fabric sold at the scene, actually. Didn't you search the area surrounding the stage for clues?
Nah, I'm not into picking stuff up off the ground, me. Always works out that way better diving into people's pockets instead.
So much for the new career path.
Mind you, the boss was on his hands and knees picking up all kinds of rubbish from the floor. Thing is, though, the cage went crashing in the Crystal Tower, didn't it? So that's where most of the investigating was going on.
Even so, I would have thought someone from Scotland Yard would have gathered it up as evidence.
Cool, listen to ya. You stumble across a bit of balloon and suddenly you're the best investigator in the world.
Pardon?
Well, you ain't got a badge, have ya? Like this one. I could arrest you with this if I wanted to.
I highly doubt that. I wouldn't put it past her. I know she'd try. I just don't think it would work.
Come to think of it, there was talk of some scorching on the ground at a meeting we had about the investigation. Probably some debris thrown from the explosion.
Hold it!
There was considerable damage to the stage and surrounding area, wasn't there? Yeah, some of the cows what were watching the experiment were caught up in the blast and injured. Good job the old contraption didn't keel over, eh? I hadn't even considered that. Seems there was great panic after the incident occurred. Nevertheless, the police shouldn't have missed a torn piece of envelope from a balloon. Inspector Gregson can expect repercussions. Are you gonna start docking his pay? Is this where it begins? That's fucked up, man.
Like me swiping all his fish and chips, hey?
A man's sole pleasure.
None of this matters. A scrap of balloon envelope means nothing. Yante.
Yet. I don't know what that means.
The stupido ragazzo is mistaken. My balloons have the red and blue zigzag stripes anyway.
Oh shit, I meant to hit press on that shit. So I thought Mr. Loon's testimony just doesn't quite add up. The young Bohemian boy claims to have seen another fourth balloon, but Mr. Loon vehemently denies the possibility, and it's hard to imagine the man in charge could be mistaken about the number that were in the air. Still, this inconsistency must tell us something, I'm sure. I missed pressing the most important one! No! There we go.
Hold it!
You mean the color is wrong? Si, senor! I do not have any green balloons in my warehouse. And yet a piece of green cloth was found at the scene, and it's unmistakably from a balloon. Well, I do not know how that can be. For the sake of argument, let's say that a green balloon did explode above the stage. You couldn't therefore conclude that it happened on the day in question. Why not? There have been recreational balloon flights over Hyde Park operating from before the Great Exhibition. One could have exploded on some earlier date. Fortunate, as I'm sure you'd agree. You believe it may have been from some earlier balloon accident that predates the exhibition?
Si, exactamente. As the senor says, it is not from one of my balloons. Clearly, this little ragazzo from Bohemia is mistaken about what he saw.
I don't know, he looks pretty pissed. Excuse me. Is something wrong, Master Gotts?
It's Master William Gosrick Sigismund Ormstein.
It was on the tip of my tongue, I swear.
Yeah, something is very wrong. I know what I saw. There was a green balloon there. I swear it's there all over Bohemia. You can speak as much bad language as you like, but it changes nothing.
Buy another balloon.
You do not have evidence, ragazzo, then I must tell your parents to punish you, eh?
Perhaps we'll let the judge decide when it comes to punishments.
Evidence? What is this evidence?
Give a simple explanation, young man. A photograph, for instance, some tangible proof of what you claim.
Then why didn't you say so sooner? I have the photograph here.
Good gracious! You have a what now? Can I see? Gimme. Gimme? What?
I'd not been up in balloon for a little while, so I was very excited. I took lots and lots of photographs. Of the Crystal Tower, of the Bohemian exhibit, of the streets of London, of the hot deal sellers of balloon.
And the instantaneous kinesis experiment? Did you take a picture of that?
Yeah, one picture.
Really? You did take one?
But all I wanted was a ride in a balloon. I was not interested in boring experiments.
Now please, picture. Gimme. Never mind that. Can you show us the photograph?
Of course, and then you will see. You will see that I am not lying. That I really did see a green balloon.
There's no color. That's a balloon with nobody in it. Well, I see you are all too shocked to speak.
Yes, I think shocked is indeed the word, young man.
Ah, perhaps you cannot see that it was a green balloon from this photograph, but that is not my fault. That is the fault of the stupid person who made the camera.
There's one very bohemian sounding cry. Very well, the court will accept this photograph as evidence. A photograph taken by Gotts whilst he was still riding in the balloon. It shows another balloon that he claims was green and exploded moments after he took the shot. Does it have stripes on it?
Not my fault. It's the fault of the person who made the camera.
It's fine, kid. Hold on.
Yeah, I'm not seeing any stripes on this balloon. Also, I mean, notably, there's also no people. There's nobody riding in this balloon. That's sus as fuck. So all I would have to do is just point this up there and be like, boop, and then that'll explode, and then bam, the whatever is hiding inside of this balloon come falling down.
Well, never mind. I'm sure you have plenty of wonderful sepia memories to take home with you.
In any case, when exactly did you take that photograph? Well, it was on the day of the big explosion.
You don't say.
When I pressed the shutter release, there was this very loud bang, and a hot wind rushed over my face.
That means this photograph was taken a split second before the explosion occurred.
Well, if you ask me, this black and white photograph changes nothing. I could not give the flying fig.
Lovely language you picked up. Okay. Notably, there's no one in the balloon. Every balloon in the sky landed safely. All three of these balloons were carrying passengers. Okay. But this photo that we just got has no passenger. All right, ready? Objection. Unfortunately, the photograph Master Gotts took can't tell us the color of the balloon, but it can tell us something else, something crucially important. What? It shows that the pictured balloon wasn't carrying any passengers.
Oh, my goodness, you're right! Surely all the balloons would have been carrying passengers. There'd be no sense in it otherwise. See! They are for pleasure! For seeing the view! My balloons only fly with passengers.
Which tells us that the pictured balloon isn't one of them. So when the incident occurred that day, somebody was invading in your territory. There was a fourth balloon in the skies above the experimentation stage. The mysterious green balloon.
I know nothing! I can only tell you one thing. This balloon was not carrying passengers, then it was not one of mine!
I like how he has a hot air balloon on his head, too. That's very cute. And it's got fire. Because that's safe. There are illegal tradesmen everywhere you care to look. Clearly, one such entrepreneur decided to capitalize on the opportunity presented by the Great Exhibition. Okay, but what is the point of doing that if you don't send a passenger up? Like, who's gonna fucking pay for that? That's weird. You gotta admit that that's like really, that's a weird thing to do. And managed to operate balloon flights on Mr. Loon's patch without him realizing.
See, the competition trying to steal my profits. I did not notice because of the esperimento that went wrong on the stage.
Now he's livid. The fourth balloon exploded at the very same moment Mr. Asman was beamed from the stage below.
Oh, right. So them scraps that fell to the ground after and left them scorch marks, they didn't come from the stage at all. It was the bits of balloon raining down. Because no one was in it, it didn't get no attention. Mysterious fourth balloon carrying no passengers, silently floating over the experimentation stage.
Objection!
This photograph shows us nothing more. Stray balloon carrying no one and operated by some rogue trader. Clearly it has nothing to do with the case. Bullshit. Its relevance does elude me, I must say. This court has seen sufficient evidence and heard ample testimony already. The prosecution calls for this trial to be concluded.
Really? Have we really got to the truth yet?
No, I can't let this opportunity slip away. The jurors' minds are made up, and not in our favor. What else can this photograph tell us? Is there nothing more we can learn from it? That there's something shooting up at the balloon. There's more.
Objection!
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, wait. Please don't give your decisions yet. The photograph from Mr. Gotts may well be hiding one more vital clue.
What's that? A vital clue?
Objection!
We're well past the point of mere possibilities. It's time for definitives now, so tell the court! What exactly does this alleged clue in the photograph prove? The balloon's owner, the balloon's color, the cause of the explosion, you dum-dum. We can reasonably assume that the pictured balloon was destroyed in the searing heat of the explosion.
Yeah, that's right, yeah! It was not my fault!
Evidently, because the birdcage from the kinesis machine materialized in the sky where it had been flying. And the balloon, being filled with flammable hydrogen, instantly exploded and ignited.
Objection!
No, that's not what happened. That's not what happened. What? It would appear that this photograph requires closer examination. Counsel for the defense, you will highlight the location of this alleged clue in the photograph for the court. Of course, my lord. If you look closely, it's plain enough to see, and what's shown is linked to another piece of evidence we have. In a way, that leads to an unbelievable conclusion. A clue that heavily suggests the real reason why the balloon exploded is this very suspicious beam of light.
Take that!
The timing of this photograph can only be described as miraculous. If you look, you'll notice there's a bright white line that appears to be pointing directly at the balloon. Most likely a ray of light caught incidentally on the film. I'm afraid I can see nothing of the sort. If you look with a magnifying glass, my lord, it becomes clear what the nature of this bright line really is. Goodness, what is that? Undeniably some flash of light, yes?
Oh golly, do you think it might have been lightning?
And it couldn't have been a finer day.
I believe he may be looking at fire.
A bolt of fire headed straight for the balloon, like an arrow. Indeed, even to my aging eyes it would appear to be a flame of some sort. My word! Are you suggesting this flame struck the hydrogen gas that filled the balloon? Yes.
Objection!
That's absurd! The balloon would have been 60 feet above the ground at the time. No flame could possibly have reached such a height.
Objection!
I gotta wait for you. Actually, it's my opinion that a particular piece of evidence found at the scene reveals how exactly that did happen. What evidence? Something y'all failed to pick up. Again, because your police force is for some reason not very thorough. You may want to talk to Inspector Gregson about that. Such evidence exists, counsel, then for goodness sake present it, man. Which evidence explains this mysterious streak of flame that appears to be headed directly for the balloon, the crossbow?
Take that!
The true nature of this curious slim streak of light is revealed by this. Curious answer. The slim chance of being the correct one, I feel. Oh shit. Looks somewhat like a piece of firework. Whereas fireworks dazzle their audience, you fizzle out in a remarkably disappointing way. I thought it was a crossbow, but apparently not. Ugh, insults dressed up in colorful metaphors are still insults. Anyway, this firework display isn't over yet. Yeah, okay. Explains that this mysterious streak of flame that appears to... Look, I thought it was the crossbow. Very distinctive handle. Beam of light. Are we trying to say it was the electricity? No, but that's more or less like what they're saying. I definitely thought it was the crossbow. But it's not pointing at it. That's another thing. The machine's not actually pointing at this. Oh, and like the dude's still in there. So it could have been the machine. There's another balloon. Screen exploded moments after he took the shot. Could it have been a gun? A Reaper attacked. The kingpins of criminal underworld generally managing to escape conviction in the Reaper's trials, and this isn't the first time their henchmen have tried to attack Lord Van Zeeks as a result by the sound of it. Makes you think. That's just how the justice system works in London. There must be dark forces at work. Maybe I need to look at this thing. Ah, there's some sort of lever here. There we go, now it's a crossbow. What is this? It looks like a cross between a bow and a gun. I think it's probably used for the same thing too. There we go, crossbow. I had to examine it first to make it clear it's a fucking crossbow. Looks like you wind this around in order to draw the bowstring back and create tension. You must be able to fire arrows with a huge amount of force using this device then. In fact, I would imagine it's far more accurate and powerful than a Japanese longbow. Ugh, I really had no idea what I was picking up when I spotted this at the exhibition grounds. This groove here must be where the arrows are loaded, I suppose. So I was right, it's a sort of bow with an automatic firing mechanism. This would be perfect for someone like me who catches his ear with the bowstring 2 times out of 3. In fact, if I had one of these, maybe I could have beaten Cosmo in Kudo archery training. That's called cheating, mate. Alright, now we'll present the crossbow. Now it's an actual crossbow! This was found hidden at the foot of a small ornamental tree near the scene. Good lord, is that a crossbow? An arrow dipped in oil instead of light could have been shot from this weapon, sending a flaming arrow straight into the hydrogen-filled balloon. Are you suggesting that crossbow was used to deliberately...
Blimey, you're right! A streak of light in the photos looks just like an arrow, don't it? Then, the explosion of the balloon, it was...
Very likely the result of a flaming arrow from this crossbow, igniting the hydrogen gas inside it. No! Order, order! Council, this is an extraordinary supposition. The aim was to cause the balloon to explode. The shooter could have used a gun, of course. However, there's an obvious reason why that would have been out of the question. The noise. It's very loud. The noise of the discharge? Of course. Yeah, the guns are very loud. That's right. By using a crossbow, the projectile could be fired at the balloon silently.
Oh yeah, someone had shot off a gun in the exhibition grounds, it would have caused a real panic. But with the big explosion, there was a very big panic anyway, no?
I don't like this. I should be pleased to have found a plausible new explanation for all this, but something feels wrong.
Objection!
Do you understand the implications of what you're saying, my Nipponese friend? If a flaming arrow did indeed hit the balloon, then obviously it would have exploded. And if the birdcage appeared from the cloud of smoke that ensued...
What? Wait a minute! What are you really saying yet?
That the experiment was a fraud, which is gonna piss off my client, but, you know, maybe he just wasn't in on the full truth.
I don't get it. Was a birdcage beamed up into the sky after all? Or what?
My goodness me! Now I understand. That's what the sinking feeling is about. I think there's a good chance that the birdcage was actually concealed inside the balloon all along. What? Did I just hear that correctly, Council? There's no going back now. The horse is bolted. Let's assume, as I said, that the birdcage was hidden inside the green balloon from the start. On stage, when the experiment was started, the birdcage and the instantaneous kinesis machine disappeared in a cloud of smoke. At that moment, the flaming arrow was fired from the ground, causing the green balloon to explode and drawing the attention of the spectators to the sky above their heads. From amid the smoke, the hidden birdcage then appeared to fall down and crash into the crystal tower. I think you'll all agree it's entirely plausible that what I've just described is the real truth behind the miraculous experiment carried out that day. Good grief!
Objection!
This is ludicrous! What you've described is no science experiment. It's child's play. A contemptible display of stage magic. Both Mr. Sholmes and Iris said that the experiment was scientifically impossible. In which case, this is the only way to explain what happened that day. And in any case, the victim's body was found inside the birdcage in the crystal tower. If the instantaneous kinesis didn't take place, how do you explain that? If I may put in a word, as a man of magic myself, such apparent discrepancies can easily be explained by some simple deception. Juror number 3? All that would be needed is a doppelganger, someone who looked very similar to the victim, Mr. Asman, and having this other man appear on stage to the front show as a body double. Yes, of course. So, in fact, Mr. Asman must have been inside the birdcage that was concealed inside the balloon right from the start.
Objection!
That balloon would have been filled with hydrogen. Anything hidden inside it would have been scattered to the 4 winds when it exploded. No one would ever have embarked on such a risky venture. Not necessarily. That explosive force or the balloon gas would very much depend upon the mixture ratio. Juror number 4? Flying balloons are rarely filled with pure hydrogen, but a mixture of other gases such as helium as well. Helium on its own doesn't explode, but by controlling the gas mixture ratio, the explosive force can be altered. The mixture ratio? Obviously, the victim's body would have suffered some burns that would be unavoidable, but not to such an extent as to render the whole obscene charade impossible. So everything that happened can be explained, logically and scientifically. I don't know if I would call any of these burns. The explosion that engulfed the stage at the start of the experiment was no accident. It was all part of an elaborate deception to make it appear that instantaneous kinesis had occurred. Well, goodness me. And if we accept that this is what happened, it means that the victim, Mr. Asman, was never present on the public experimentation stage to begin with. In short, he couldn't have been killed by the defendant who was on stage in full view the entire time. Ah! This will be very hard for the prosecution to counter. Lord Van Zieks can't credibly maintain that Professor Harebrained is a suspect now. Yeah, that's probably Professor Harebrained. Yep, there we go. Mr. Naruhodo, I appreciate your efforts. Thank you. Professor? You can stop now. Just keep your mouth shut, please. Sorry? What's all this about, Mr. Harebrained? I, Albert Harebrained, hereby confess that it was me who stabbed Mr. Odie Asman. Yes, it was me, with my faithful friend and partner, Andrew the Screwdriver. He'll do literally anything to keep his hypothesis and his research safe, even if it's a lie, which is really frustrating. Dude, come on. That's not how you science. Juror number 4 is kind of right about you right now. If your hypothesis doesn't work out, that just means you go back to the drawing board and you amend it. Don't like fight tooth and oh god. Don't bend the truth just to make your dumb hypothesis work. That's not how science works. Just keep trying and amending it. Like, seeing if you can figure it out. But don't do this. What are you doing? He's trying to protect his damn research, because apparently that's more important. Order, order, order! If I need to explain the sudden confession. Professor Harebrained, what are you talking about? It's what I've said all along. I must protect my hypothesis and my precious machine. You know your machine's bogus though, right? Like they didn't actually build it as you wanted, or maybe they did and it just doesn't work. You stand there and claim it was all a trick, all an elaborate prank, but where's your proof? No, you'd have to examine the machine if you wanted to prove it, but then it would be all over. My beautiful hypothesis would be laid bare. I mean, the indignity of it. This is why peer review is very important. It's clear that you drew the plans for the experiment, but you didn't actually build it. It's quite conceivable that you were duped, Professor. If you'll just let me, I can prove. Barrick! Yes? I'll cooperate. I'll do whatever you say. I swear it. So please. Ensure the Special Dispensation for Scientific Equipment Act is adhered to and protect my creation! Pray forgive the discourtesy of filling my hallowed chalice at this critical juncture. Here's to my learned Nipponese friend. What? and his upcoming attempt to clarify the defense's position in light of the accused's confession. You intend to formally assert that the experiment was nothing more than a conjuring trick? Because the moment you do, the Special Dispensation for Scientific Equipment Act that protects the professor's invention will cease to apply. The prosecution will then demand a rigorous examination of the machinery involved in order to establish the truth. However, if you acknowledge that the machine is genuine and instrumental in the victim's murder, any chance of investigating will be crushed, and the confidentiality of the professor's hypothesis preserved. I hate this. Well, counsel, what is the defense's official position on this matter? Professor Hairbrain, my client, actually asked of me. Oh my god. Was to prove that the explosion on stage was an accident and protect the secrecy of his hypothesis. But there's no way to do that with implying the professor's guilt. Do I protect my client's life by asserting his innocence? Or do I uphold my client's request but see him condemned? Either way, I can't avoid betraying his trust. You've been silent long enough. Isn't talking your trade, my learned friend? Or has all knowledge of English escaped your confused Nipponese mind? Stop being racist. This is a tough thing. Sir Naruhodo! There's no escape here. I have to make a choice. But it's an impossible one. I have to give up on something. But what? The defense asserts that the defendant's instantaneous kinesis machine was, in fact, oh my gosh. Okay, so if we say it's a proper scientific invention, then he's definitely guilty. But we'll protect his machine, which will make him happy. Or if we say it was all a trick, then it's not a proper scientific invention and they'll dismantle it and he'll be miserable. He'll be free, but he'll be miserable. He would be crushing his dreams. I can imagine the people who like really hate the character of Professor Hairbrain would just be like, screw this man, it was a conjuring trick. What an easy decision that would be. But then we could investigate too. We could find out the truth. But he doesn't want us to investigate it. I mean, this will piss off the client, but would ensure that we would get to investigate and, you know, clearly the game would probably keep going. I don't know. Whereas if we say this, then it's all over for him. He would get thrown in jail. There'd be nothing else for us to do. He would be found guilty. And
If we think back to past games, to the original Ace Attorney games, to Phoenix Wright, what would Phoenix do? Phoenix would pursue the truth, no matter what. Always, like, that was the promise that he made with Edgeworth, is that, like, regardless of who wins, who loses, they would pursue the truth. The truth is the most important thing. So I think that is the lesson that we need to instill in Ryunosuke, so he will pass it down. Even though our client's gonna get real pissed at us. Alright, let's do it. Or it could be the illusion of choice. Ugh. No, I can't say it. My client places faith in me. I can't just let him down. What must I give up on is not the question you have to ask yourself here. It's what can I protect?
Hello again, Mr. Naruhodo. It's been far too long.
Are you back? Did she come back? Oh, I think we saw that she was coming back, but she's here already? Susato-san! But what are you— Hey-ya! You know what? I'm glad you threw me this time. I needed it. My first Susato takedown in 6 months!
Be time to talk later, Mr. Naruhodo. For now, you must concentrate on the task at hand.
Which is working out not what I have to give up on, but what can I protect? Professor Hairbrain?
Yes?
Yesterday you told me that science is the pursuit of truth. Well, my job is to pursue the truth too.
Yes, of course.
And personally, I believe that you didn't stab Mr. Asman. I think you've come to realize something yourself too, haven't you? That your experiment and the machine you built with the victim are questionable. The truth behind that is what we must both pursue now. So, you finally opened your eyes. What? Huh? And as for you, Albert, can't ignore this any longer. Having heard my learned friend's assertion, don't you have something to say?
Barak!
Lord Van Zeeks.
Gosh, never heard him speak that way before. In truth, there is one thing. Something I've remembered that's of relevance.
What?
On the day it happened, just before I began the experiment, I saw a man near the stage. A man holding that crossbow.
Who was it? I beg your pardon? Describe. Professor! Did the man have any distinguishing features? What did he look like?
Tall? Taller than me, and thinner than me, with straight hair, straighter and wider than mine. Let me see. One less lens than mine too, a monocle. Rather stylish black monocle.
But one thing in particular will help to positively identify that man. You see, I know him very well. After all, he's the engineer who built my invention. What? He built the machine?
That's right, Mr. Asman introduced him to me a year ago. He's a man by the name of
Enoch Drebber. Enoch Drebber. Enoch Drebber? Does this name mean something? Members of the jury seem flustered. Not a name any scientist wishes to hear. That man's an abomination. Not a name any conjurer wishes to hear either. Who on earth is he? I'm afraid this isn't the first tale of this nature that I've heard in the scientific circles in connection with that name. There's talk of this other flamboyant experiments that turn out to be nothing but stage trickery in the end. Obviously, the rascal is after the government's research grant money.
When magicians are in need of money, I have heard of them resorting to these underhanded tactics. Some acquaintances of mine with experience of such things have mentioned Enoch Drebber's name before. Man is both an engineer and a magician. Yes, we're dealing with an unparalleled confidence trickster here. That's Enoch Drebber for you. You got swindled, my dude. You had no idea. So it's true then. My invention, my great machine, it was just a grand illusion? Concerning what we've just heard about Mr. Drebber's character, I'm sorry to say that sounds increasingly likely. Even though no one else believed it, I wanted to. I wanted to believe that machine would function exactly as my hypothesis predicted. Which is why you were so opposed to it being investigated, I presume. I knew that if the machine was examined in detail, its construction would give away my hypothesis. Obviously, I didn't want that to happen. At the same time, I knew that if it was found to be nothing more than a trick, than a work of deception, then everything I'd worked towards, all my research, all my dreams, my whole life would be over. Find a new dream, my dude. Keep sciencing. That's the fun part, is that even if you're wrong, all you gotta do is figure out why you're wrong, and then, you know, I don't know. Maybe it's not that easy because research money is a thing. The funding is a thing. It's an issue. Oh, I was terrified of that prospect. So you really had no idea then, did you? About the true nature of the machine that was built? About the true nature of Mr. Drebber? Never questioned anything. I didn't want to question it. Yeah, that's a pretty dumb thing to do, honestly. It's entirely possible that Mr. Asman and Mr. Drebber were working together to use you as a means of fraudulently acquiring the research grant money. When I announced my invention to the crowds that day, it was the finest moment of my career. I pulled all the levers and turned all the dials in exactly the way Drebber had described. When the smoke suddenly started billowing out, I panicked. I didn't know what was happening. But I really don't know how the whole illusion was made to work. I don't know anything anymore. Let me confirm one final point with you, Professor. Do you now consent to the prosecution submitting the necessary paperwork to release your invention from the protection afforded by the Special Dispensation for Scientific Equipment Act? Yes, please go ahead. Finally! Gotta investigate to get to the truth of the matter. I'm very sorry. It would appear that we shall have to suspend proceedings for the remainder of the day now. Lord Van Zeeks? My lord. The court has newly been made aware of another party whose involvement in this matter is critical. Yes, Mr. Drebber. Gather information about the man. If possible, I should like him served with a subpoena. With pleasure, my lord. Now, counsel for the defense? Yes, my lord. When we reconvene, I shall be looking for one thing and one thing alone from you. Evidence that the defendant is innocent of the crime for which he presently stands accused. I understand. Good. In that case, this court is adjourned until tomorrow morning. October, 1:36 p.m. The Old Bailey.
Defendant's antechamber.
Mr. Naruhodo,
Yes?
I'm so sorry. I was wrong. You were right. I tricked you. You trusted me. I dragged you into my mess. Oh, how did it ever come to this? I'm so sorry.
Did you really have no idea, Professor? About what Mr. Drebber was really up to, I mean? About what he was really constructing? Naturally!
That machine was the embodiment of my hypothesis. All my hopes and dreams. I had complete faith in it.
Alright, in that case, I won't say anymore. Now, sadly, the murder accusation against you still stands. So, we must do as much investigation as we can before the trial resumes tomorrow.
Well, thank you for doing so much for me.
Yep, you're welcome. This will be much easier now that we have full access to everything.
I'm so sorry for arriving late this morning, Mr. Naruhodo.
Arriving late?
Didn't you receive my postcard? I wanted to let you know when I'd arrive.
Postcard? What postcard?
I hid it from you, Bruno, so it'd be a surprise.
Oh my god, Iris!
Well, did it work?
I was surprised, alright, especially when she threw me to the ground.
Oh dear, I'm so sorry. I was just so happy to see you again that it sort of slipped out.
Maybe we could stick to more traditional displays of emotion in the future.
Susie's train was late into London Victoria this morning, you see. But we made the coachman really whip the horses hard so she didn't miss the whole trial. I was watching from the gallery for a while, but in the end, I'm afraid I couldn't contain myself.
Well, I'm glad he didn't.
Oh,
Having you at my side in court gives me the strength I need to win. So, I'm, glad to see you back in London.
oh, you're too kind, Mr. Naruhodo. I'm delighted to be here. I hope I can continue to be of service to you.
Of course. So, what's brought you back? Did Professor Mikotoba not protest?
Let's save all that conversation for when we're back at home, shall we? You know, I've made one of my most special blends ever for this special occasion. Oh, Iris, how wonderful! I can't wait.
Susato-san was back in London. It's hard to describe how happy that made me feel at the time. But despite my elation, our tale was about to take yet another extraordinary turn. Okay, so some of that did play out the way I was kind of thinking, so that's nice. But now we gotta do some more investigating to figure out what really happened. But as soon as it gives me back control, I kind of hate that it like automatically takes me here. Anyway, but we're going to save that for next week, because if we do this, we're gonna be here for another 3-4 hours, and I am tired. I can only do so much talking, so we're gonna call it here for the evening. Ooh, let me show this off. Beep. We have a new just chatting screen, and there's no cat here, so the cat cam doesn't really apply, but I mean, it'll go there. You can go here when we have a cat there. So yeah, hey, thanks all for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed the stream. You can see how scuffed the green screen is being right now, so that'd be how it be. But yeah, what a trial! What a thing! And I'm glad that we are sticking to our principles of the truth, the whole truth, and okay. Let's see what's going on the good old Twitch.tv. Let's go. Oh look, Neoneko's streaming. We might as well go raid our friend, so let's do that.
We will continue this next week. I can't type. Neo Neko. We will continue our journey next week. And, same time, same place. Saturday, when sometime in the afternoon we'll start. We'll do our investigation. It'll be super fun. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how this plays out and getting some more info. This is definitely gonna... Oh, and seeing if we can make friends with Van Zeeks. Because, still kind of a dick, but a bit less of a dick now. We're going to be helping his friends, so maybe he'll appreciate that, and then we can have, like, our Phoenix Edgeworth dynamic going on, so that'd be super fun. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens next week. For now, thanks y'all for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed the stream. Yay! Next stream will be tomorrow. We should be raiding for 14, but I might do something during the day before that, which I'm looking forward to. But yeah. So yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow, or, if I don't see you guys till next week, we will resume Ace Attorney on Saturday, and then I'll see you guys then. So yeah, thanks again. Have a great night, everybody. Have a great rest of your weekend, and I will see you guys next time. Bye-bye.
So